Today, we are excited to welcome Leon Wilson. Leon joined the Cleveland Foundation in October of 2015 as the Chief of Digital Innovation and Chief Information Officer. In this dual role, Leon is part of the executive committee and leads the Foundation's Information and Technology Services Department and oversees the Foundation's Digital Excellence grant-making strategy. Leon brings more than 25 years of senior-level technology experience to our community. Previously, he served as the Senior Director of Technology and Data Engagement for the Michigan Nonprofit Association. And prior to his work there, he held numerous internal staff and consulting IT leadership positions with a variety of large companies. He also has had a distinguished military career with the Army Reserve. He is a 2015 Nonprofit Technology Network Lifetime Achievement Awardee and a board member for the Council of Foundations Technology Affinity Group, as well as other national and local nonprofit technology-oriented organizations. He is a frequent speaker at many nonprofit conferences and a recent adjunct lecturer at the University of Michigan. He is a graduate of Leadership Detroit 2015 and CLC's own Leadership Cleveland Class of 2023 and our Civic Leadership Institute 2016. We are also proud to partner with Leon and the Cleveland Foundation on the Technovation Award for our upcoming Accelerate. Please welcome Leon Wilson.
Thank you. I just had to find my mute button and find my camera to turn the camera on. So thank you, Rachel, for inviting me, and thank you all. I know we only have about 30 minutes, and I definitely want to be mindful that I'm more interested in your questions than just basically spitting out information with all of you. But as Rachel said, my name is Leon Wilson. I'm with the Cleveland Foundation, and I've had the pleasure to just give a short talk with Leadership Cleveland 2025 regarding AI, generative AI, as it's used for managers and leaders as it pertains to decision making. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so that we can get started with this. Just bear with me one second. And then maximize it. And let me know if you see my screen. I think we're all good. Okay, great. So we're here to talk about AI, and I love the title that Rachel and them put together when they came up with this title, AI for AI, or AI through AI, as far as achieving impact through artificial intelligence. And when we're talking about leadership, when we're talking about AI, I definitely would be mindful about all the conversation, all the chatter that you're hearing about, and many of you may have played with it. But what does it really mean? Because what I find is people are on the far spectrum range of their utilization of AI, generative AI to be more specifically, and again, how often they're using it within their organizations and so forth. So let me go ahead and share. So I always like to start off by saying, what is AI? And there's a lot of wording here, but let me just boil this down for you. So AI technology enables computers to simulate, and let me emphasize simulate, human intelligence through pattern recognition and data-driven learning, fundamentally operating like a mathematical apprentice rather than a biological learner. How we as humans learn, we learn biologically, we learn through other ways. And how computers learn is different through statistics and pattern recognition. AI systems continuously improve their performance through experience by analyzing large data sets and refining their algorithms, allowing them to handle increasingly complex tasks. And that's where they really do a really great job for, with us, is dealing with large data sets to discern complex patterns, identifying things that it may take we as humans a lot longer to understand. And modern AI applications are deeply integrated into our daily lives, from virtual assistants that many of you have probably been using for quite some time, Siri, things like that, and content recommendations to critical systems like autonomous vehicles and medical diagnosis. That's what AI is. But the talk of the town that we've seen for the last, 2 or 3 years is around generative AI, which is a subset of AI, specifically machine learning, that can now not only discern and go through and interrogate large volumes of data, but now start creating new content, which you didn't find in traditional AI. Now we get into the content creation form and era of AI, creating new and original content such as images, video, music, and text. It still involves complex algorithms, but it's again, if you think about AI, it's all about pattern recognition. It's all about predictability, creating models that can analyze and learn patterns in existing data to generate new content based on those patterns. So if you were to recite something like, a saying or a quote, and you started off, if AI's seen that 1,000 times, then it can probably repeat what you're going to say and start thinking about what you're about to say before you finish your thought. It's just regurgitating what is already learned over terabytes and trillions of information and experiences. And like I say, generative AI has a wide range of applications, including creating realistic images. I mean, this is where you hear terms like deepfake, where to capturing all your images or capturing trillions of images of a white female, it can now create the image of a white female that looks pretty damn real because it is just grabbing different pixelizations of what a white female looks like or what a black male looks like. And now it can artificially create a synthetic image that looks real, but is not a real person. And the same thing it can do for sound, for music, for language translation, even writing novels and writing stories and poems. It is all the information that we've been feeding the internet over the last 25 years, all the information that we've been providing through public records, all the information that computers can get their hand on, it can start boiling that information down to now start creating new content that seems fairly real. So we always need to be mindful that generative AI, especially as it pertains to leaders, can help us perform complex analysis, and it can also help us make better decisions. But there's a caveat. It's not human. And you all have to be mindful of that. AI is not human. Human behavior is more than intellect. AI does not have your values. It does not have your intention. It does not have your motives, your emotions, your morality, your judgment. All AI can do is simulate these in ways that could be potentially misleading. Remember, AI is by design focused on efficiency, predictability, and data-driven solutions. So you have to factor that in when you're using AI to help you make decisions, to help you craft new content, to craft new material, or to synthesize different aspects of volumes of information. I was just listening to a talk yesterday from Harvard Business Review, and they tried to compare the difference between AI and other kind of automated machinery, like their calculator that has been around for decades. If you type in 2 times 2, you're going to get 4. No matter which calculator you use, you can stack up 100 calculators. If you type in 2 times 2, you're always going to get 4. You can't say that the same thing when you talk about AI. If you put in the same prompt in different generative AI tools, you're more than likely to get subtly different responses. So then which one is right? Which one is wrong? Which one do you prefer to hear? That's where now, by leveraging generative AI, it's going to require you as a leader to exercise your judgment muscle far more regularly, to discern and pull out and tease out what do you feel. It's like talking to 10 different consultants and you're going to get 11 different responses. And then you have to figure out which one do you prefer, which one sounds more accurate, which one sounds more aligned to your values, to your intention, to your judgment calls and things of that nature. Because AI is just trained on existing data sets. And some of the decisions, some of the information that it's providing you can reinforce erroneous information and bias. As I said earlier, AI is getting all of its content from public information, the internet. social media, other kind of forms of things that we see today. And we all know that a lot of information on the internet is malicious, is fraudulent, is erroneous, is misinformation. So as we're constantly polluting the internet with all of that erroneous information, and now all these AI engines and models are feeding off of that, the likelihood of you getting more erroneous information and bias will increase. I'm not sure by how much, but it's just something that we have to factor in when we're leveraging these tools, that we can't take them as gospel. We have to then use our judgment, our intent, factor in our own human values when we're leveraging these things. Now, when you think about generative AI, or when you think about AI, the poster child for AI is ChatGPT. And for many of us, we think that AI just hit the scene the last 2 or 3 years, back in, I believe, November 2022 or November 2023. But if you really go back in history, AI's been around since the 40s. It's just gone through continuous evolutions. And once again, we just have to be mindful of that as compute power has increased and improved, it's allowed all these models and theoretical models that computer scientists, philosophers, social engineers, and scientists have been pressure testing. It allowed it to get to a point where it's now become commercialized and commoditized. So ChatGPT is just the next, or generative AI is just the next rendition along a long line of AI trying to simulate human thinking. But we've been trying to simulate human thinking, human decision making since the 40s. So, sorry. So, when you see a lot of the talk around AI transformation is more, as I'm trying to get to the conversation of this, it's not just about tech. And while you see a lot of pilots, a lot of ideas, a lot of concepts that have been preached by a lot of pundits regarding the use of generative AI and how powerful it can be, how much it can unlock, what they've shown so far up until late last year, that of all the different AI, generative AI pilots that have been out there, only 11% of those pilots have been able to scale up successfully. So we're still in pressure testing mode with generative AI, which is good for you, depending on how often you've used it or not. There was also another study from Harvard that showed that while close to 78% of managers that they surveyed managers across the globe, hundreds, if not thousands of managers, and 78% of those managers do report and identify and recognize the potential of generative AI. But then what we do find is that only 15% of those same managers are using generative AI on a daily basis. So while we all understand the power of generative AI and AI, we're all still basically tinkering around with it, and we're not using it in our daily lives. We're not using it regularly as managers. And what is become glaringly obvious, that it's going to become a skill that we all as leaders have to learn to get better at. So I would definitely implore you and encourage you to start finding ways to test with AI, to pilot with AI, to play with AI, to start incorporating it into your daily activities. And what might some of those daily activities look like? For the most part, when we're talking about generative AI, it's either helping you co-pilot work or helping you co-think work. And in co-piloting work, it's like your assistant. It's like your virtual assistant. It's helping you draft emails, draft memos, draft messages. It's helping you identify in a PDF the top 4 or 5 talking points. It's helping you distill information. It's helping you streamline your email inbox and things of that nature. But you still have full control over what it's sharing with you. It's focused on streamlining tasks, and often used to help out, like drafting job descriptions, drafting other kind of materials of that nature. So that's what a lot of people these days are co-piloting to help them get on. I want to draft a PowerPoint presentation for a meeting that I have next week. But for us as leaders, the real power in generative AI is helping us co-think. Now you're engaging with AI in a deeper level of brainstorming and idea generation. You're now transitioning from just telling AI to do something for you. You're prompting it to do for you. Now you're having a conversation with the generative AI tool, and you're challenging even what the generative AI is giving you as far as responses and feedback, and you're prompting it. You're having a more interactive dialogue over complex issues, complex situations, to help stimulate creative thinking and explore new ideas and way to come to a final resolution or final solution. And it may help present alternative viewpoints or challenge some of your existing viewpoints. You can put in some of your thinking, some of your talking points, or some of your thinking around a particular concept, and ask generative AI, what would be your compelling arguments against this, to counteract this, to that goes against this, or what are some of the supportive reasonings and theories and models and methodologies that support this. So now you're having a dialogue, a conversation with generative AI. But again, remember when I started off this talk is that it's not real. It's not human. And where it's pulling information, it can be flawed. So it's talking to a bunch of peers, talking to a bunch of thought leaders, and you using your own human judgment, your human intuition to distill, discern, and cherry pick what you want to take away from that conversation so that you can be a more informed leader, a more informed decision maker. So I know a lot of people quickly want to know, well, what should I be using? What are the tools out there? And while a lot of you probably heard ChatGPT, there are tons and tons of other generative AI tools that are out there, whether you're creating video, whether you're creating memos, whether you're creating music, whether you're creating any form of content. And there's this website that you can go to identify what they identify as some of the more prominent top 21 best generative AI tools that are out there. But also, what you probably find in your work setting are more accessible tools like Microsoft Copilot that is being deployed through Microsoft, especially for many of you, if you're a Microsoft Office 365 shop, or if you're a Google shop, G Suite shop, you have Google Gemini. And then let's not forget, for many of us that have been writing for years, Grammarly has been around for a decade or so, and we all use Grammarly, and that is another form of generative AI. Some other examples that I'd like to just share with before I then turn this over for Q&A, because I know we're at about the 18-minute mark, is think about using generative AI if you're updating your resume. Think about leveraging generative AI if you want to draft a job description. Think about using generative AI if your boss or your leader has given you 4 or 5 articles, or you got a report from consulting groups like a Deloitte, like an Accenture, or whomever, and you want to boil down what are the primary talking points and takeaways from that, and how do you compare that against what you already know. So those are ways you can begin to start exercising your judgment muscle, start exercising your generative AI muscle, to now make this just part of your DNA, part of your human DNA. It becomes an extension of what you do. It is not to be a replacement. It's not for you to outsource decision making. It is to use it to include in, to help you have a more informed opinion, to make you a more productive, more effective leader and manager and decision maker. So I'm going to pause right there and open it up for Q&A, and I'm going to stop sharing my screen so I can see more of your faces.
Leon, thank you so much. As you think about bringing AI more into the workplace, more into folks' community work, are there suggested guidelines you would offer for the best use of AI?
Yes. Well, first of all, you definitely have to be mindful if you're using AI within your organization. So let's talk about you as an employee versus you as an individual. So as an employee, you definitely want to be mindful of your information that you're sharing. Are you sharing this information out in the public domain? Or does your organization have the ability to procure a license of ChatGPT, a license of Copilot that now you can use behind a firewall so that you can protect your content? So now if you're working with sensitive information, it's not leaking out into the ether. It is contained. You're able to still leverage a lot of the information that's out there in the ether, but you lock in your own internal information, your internal data, your internal spreadsheets, your internal PowerPoint presentations and Word documents. But then you can just play with it that way. If you're using it for personal use, again, just like we always say when you're doing e-commerce, be careful of what personal information you put out there, and realize that now you just got to be mindful that some of that information may be a little flawed, but again, it gets you going. In the corporate settings, what I find a lot of companies are doing, depending on how risk averse they are or are not, is they want to have guidelines or guardrails as far as what are the approved generative AI tools, if they approve them at all, and what is the effective utilization of those tools. So do they permit you to use ChatGPT, or do they just want you to stick with Copilot? Do they permit you to use some other tools like DALL-E or not within your marketing department, within your finance department, within your HR department, and so forth? So just be mindful that you definitely want to play with it, but if you're in your organizational setting, you definitely want to seek advice as far as what's appropriate use of AI within your organizational setting and so forth.
And it feels like AI could really make an impact in the consulting industry. When you think about resume writing, strategic plans, so much can be generated now by AI. What are your thoughts about how the consulting industry will evolve?
Well, that's funny. That same talk that I was in that talked about 78% of leaders recognize the potential of AI, but only about 18% or 10% or actually 15% are actually using it on a daily basis. There was also a fear shock for consultants. They say, well, we hire these consultants to do all this analysis for us. We pay them big bucks to do all this analysis for us, and they come out with a pretty report. But now we can just use generative AI to do that for us. And we may not need those same consultants as much. So what I heard from this talk is that consulting companies are trying to figure out how can they get ahead of this curve. Because now some of the low-hanging fruit that you can just boil down by leveraging generative AI, especially if you procure it at an enterprise level, you may not need that consultant as much. You may need them for some things, but you may not need them as much. So it was funny that they were talking about the Deloitte, the Accentures, and so forth. They're now trying to figure out, okay, so we can't send the junior consultant out there anymore because the junior consultant can be replaced with generative AI.
And currently, it seems like as folks are getting more and more comfortable with it, right now it's kind of a solo activity to use AI, how it might impact your personal work. How do you see conversations in the workplace or otherwise evolving to about how we are each using AI collectively?
Well, that's great where you talk about collaborative group work, and you all are using AI. It's like that this person in a room of four that as you're brainstorming, as you're spitballing, you're peppering in information, you're seeing what you get back, you're bouncing back. So now you're including that virtual agent within the conversation versus operating independently. So you can also incorporate leveraging generative AI even within a group setting to help get different perspectives, get different opinions, and have that fifth person in the room. I would argue to help counter arguments, debates, and things of that nature to get to a better decision or get to a better solution.
And as this becomes more and more of a tool that can be utilized on teams, what kind of recommendations might you have where there are teams of different generations who have made different acceptance or perspectives on AI and technology?
Oh, that's a great one. That's a great one. As far as different perspectives based on age, I think we all, dependent, regardless of your age, I think we all come with certain biases because if we're Gen X's, if we're baby boomers, if we're Gen Z, or if we're millennials, we gravitate a certain way to whether we accept what is coming out of a computer as real or we take it for granted or we're super suspicious of what is sharing and questioning it. And so we all need to, regardless of age group, need to also be definitely reserved with what we're seeing. question it, don't accept it at on face value. Again, the example of, yeah, the calculator will always tell you 2 times 2 equal 4, or 2 plus 2 or 1 plus 1 equal 2. But the computer won't always give you the same answer. So then what do you do? And so bridging that gap of bringing that collective voice, that collective thinking, that collective discerning, will help you get to a better decision.
And as you look ahead and see kind of what's coming next, what might be that next evolution of AI? Kind of what might we see in our day to day?
Well, first and foremost, this stuff is like changing every week, every month. And you can put a prompt in a generative AI tool today, and it will tell you one thing. Put that same prompt in there 2 months from now, and it will probably tell you something just a tad differently, because it's just still growing. It's just still consuming new content. And what we're going to find with generative AI, or now they have, AGI, that's the piece where now they said that computers are going to take over mankind when you get to AGI. But it is crossing different of our sensors. So, we have touch, we have sound, we have taste, we have hearing. And when you start leveraging generative AI to cross all those different senses to help inform and provide input and to provide an output or to provide feedback, I think that's what's going to be groundbreaking. I know a lot of people they're starting to pepper in generative AI just baked into your phones, or baked into your smart glasses, or baked into your smartwatch, or embedded into infotainment machines in your vehicles, so that it's always around you. And now you're just, as I said before, you're talking to the computer. You're not prompting the computer. You're having a conversation with it, and at some point you're going to forget you're talking to a computer.
Now, Leanne, I'm going to shift our focus just a moment to Accelerate and Technovation, which is an idea that you came to us with nearly 10 years ago. Can you share a little bit about why this category and kind of the focus of the work that we're going to see next week?
Well, that's quick. That's very simple. So I here at the Cleveland Foundation, I do a lot of investing, do a lot of grant making, and helping out not just macro level things like how do we move the region from technology innovation, but also at the micro level as far as how are residents leveraging technology from a civic tech, community tech standpoint. So I used to fund a lot of hackathons back in 2017, 2016, and so forth. Surprisingly, Mayor Bibb, before he was Mayor Bibb, he was participating in one of my hackathons. And I would do all this work and get the same 25 people come out for these hackathons. And I'm spending all this money. And then I attended Accelerate, and I'm seeing hundreds of people showing up. And it's a well-oiled machine. I was like, why the hell am I over here doing this as opposed to me just partnering up CL with the Cleveland Leadership Center? So I just kind of moved away from doing my own individual hackathons to spark ideas, to spark innovation, and challenge and talk with CLC. And you all were more than willing to open up a new category for me for Technovation, where we have community-led tech-oriented ideas that can really spark innovation and improving the lives for residents in Cleveland. So that's where the idea came from. I just got tired of doing hackathons and only having the same 20 people show up.
Well, we are thankful for the collaboration and the partnership, and the ideas that are tech-driven to impact the community are amazing. And we hope you will all come out next week to see them. And Leanne, thank you for your time today and giving us such great insights into something that is going to continue to be a part of our lives going forward.
Yes, just get out there, start playing with it, and try to find a way to make it part of your daily activity and use in some minor way. This is what they're talking about when you start adding skills on your resume. Company recruiting firms are going to want to know, what is your AI, readiness, and what is your generative AI competence in this. So it's a skill like project management that you're going to start working on.